Okay, so my journey. Where do I start? Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alyssa for those that are new. Today I will be kicking off a new series for my bikini prep. I'm 16 weeks out now, so I thought it would be great to kind of document the rest of my journey. I've been in prep for about 10 to 11 weeks now, so now that things are starting to ramp up, things are going to get harder, so I kind of really wanted to document my journey. In this video, I will be explaining what bikini prep is, how I got started, and then explain the rest of my journey. Also, in case you're wondering, I am wearing extensions. I will get into that a little bit later. So first of all, what is bikini prep? So being in bikini prep means I am a bikini competitor and I am preparing for my competition season. I've always felt weird telling people I'm a bodybuilder because when you hear bodybuilder, you think of bodybuilding men who are competing in the 212, even if it's not men's, but like you think women bodybuilder. And so I just kind of like want to break that misconception. When you have the word bodybuilder, you have body builder. So someone who is building their body, right? Changing their body composition. So anyone can become a bodybuilder. But when you are a competitor, that's completely different. Bodybuilding is an extreme sport. It is something that not a lot of people can do and not a lot of people should do. It is a very isolated sport because you're not in a team, you're really just working on yourself and then you're showing up to the show and competing. So it can get lonely at times or feel like you're alone because a lot of the people around you don't understand what's going on. So I think that's why it's really important to not only have a coach, but have a coach who has other competitors so you can build that community and really have other people to talk to. And then also finding other people in the fitness community who may not necessarily be bodybuilders, but maybe they compete, they're power lifters or just other athletes in general, I think is really what's going to help you kind of get through this. So I've kind of already touched upon like different divisions. For women's, you have bikini, figure, physique, fitness, and bodybuilding. And most recently last year, the wellness division has been introduced here. And this division is very popular in other countries. And so it's great that they've now introduced it here. So those are the different divisions that you can kind of choose to see what you want to do. Obviously, the higher up you go in the divisions, the judging and the criteria is going to be very different. So not only is the judging and criteria going to be different between divisions, but it's also going to be different within federations. There are federations for the amateur level and for the pro level. Everyone starts at the amateur level, and depending on different federation, when you win a national level show, then you win your pro card and then you join the pro federations. So for example, there's the NPC or the National Physique Committee. There is the International Federation of Bodybuilding. So the NPC would be the amateur level and then the IFBB is the pro level. There is the OCB, which is the Organization of Competitive Bodybuilders, which is for the amateur and pro level. There is the WBFF, which is the World Beauty, Fitness, and Fashion. So I can go on. There's definitely more federations. Something to keep in mind is there are some federations that are strictly natural, meaning they will drug test you to make sure competitors are not taking performance enhancement drugs. I personally competed in the NPC. This is one of the biggest organizations in the US, and the pro level would be the IFBB. I personally think it's one of the more popular federations, but it's also because they don't drug test you. I believe there are some natural shows where they might test competitors, but for the most part they don't. And I'll just put it like out there, I am a natural competitor. I do not take any type of performance enhancement drug. So you might be wondering like, why are you competing in this federation if you're natural? I personally feel like if I can compete with people who are taking performance enhancement drugs and really show that a natural athlete can succeed in one of the biggest federations, like, to me, that's more of a win. That just really shows all my hard work. That's really like my thought process. So I'm planning to compete in the summertime. You may see like some people who do 12-week prep or 16-week prep. While that is, yes, shorter, you are really kind of like running yourself into the ground. I feel like you're putting your body more at risk because you're making all these drastic changes, which will really fluctuate your hormones and ultimately like can cause more stress on your body. Having a longer prep really gives your body a lot more time to adjust incrementally, not running yourself into the ground. You can take more diet breaks or have more refeeds, and it's just like better on you mentally, physically, emotionally. So you're probably wondering, how did I get started? I started lifting weights in high school, senior year, and then in college I got a little bit more serious about it. I probably didn't get serious until like my sophomore, junior year-ish. However, I was kind of one of those people who would change up my workout plans every few weeks. So I wasn't really doing progressive overload as often to see the results that I wanted. I still was going to the gym like 5 days a week. I was seeing a lot of improvements in my legs, but I think that's just because genetically I'm able to put on muscle easier there. Fast forward, I graduated college in May 2017, and once I started working full time and I kind of had less on my plate, I felt like I needed a hobby or a goal or something to really push me. I'm a very type A person. I need to be busy, basically. One day, I was kind of just like scrolling on Instagram. One of like the fitness influencers that I followed posted that she was competing, or posted that she had competed, something about it. And this was the first time I was introduced to bodybuilding, and I was so captivated. I was like,
oh my god, what is this? I want to do this.
You know, lo and behold, I didn't know what it took, but that is a different conversation. I started to kind of reach out to people I knew, and I was like, oh hey, like, I'm interested, like, do you know anybody who's doing this? And someone that I was actually speaking to mentioned that they knew somebody, so I got connected to that person to kind of get their POV and whatnot, and they put me in touch with their coach. So immediately I started working with the coach. I didn't have the best experience with that coach just because a lot of time, like, they were slow to respond. They were late in giving me updated plans and stuff like that. So I just immediately told that person, like, I don't want to work with you anymore. And I just found Team Cosmic Bodies on Instagram. I saw that Lauren had just won her pro card and Team Cosmic Bodies was accepting applications. So I immediately reached out. I was very blunt and honest about my experience with the previous coach, and you know, both Lauren and Kyle were very understanding. So it's pretty much history since then. I started working with Team Cosmic Bodies in January 2018. With the previous coach, I was aiming to compete in March 2018. However, you know, switching coaches and Team Cosmic Bodies having a little bit more experience, we pushed my date to May, and then we had to push it again to June. I'm not gonna lie, I made a lot of mistakes during my first prep. To be in prep
is a completely different mindset.
Like, you have to give it your all, because you were trying to get so lean and, you know, try to maintain as much muscle and fullness that it really takes everything you've got. And again, like I said, I made a lot of mistakes. I went on 2 trips. These trips were already planned because I thought I was going to compete in March. In like February or March, I went to Florida, and then in May, I went to Vegas. I went to EDC Las Vegas. So I was walking and dancing a lot, so like, personally, the hardest thing about being a bodybuilding competitor is the nutrition. And I think nutrition is just the hardest part for anybody in terms of fitness goals, because I think anyone can go into the gym and, you know, get it. Yes, if you're a beginner, it may be a little bit hard, not understanding progressive overload and like so many different other things, making sure your form is great. But I think at the end of the day, everyone can struggle with nutrition. Eating out is so convenient. Eating out is very delicious. I mean, eating is just a social thing. Yeah, I mean, I made mistakes with my macros. At the end of the day, I was content with the package that I brought when I competed. However, I definitely needed to be more conditioned. And you know what? That's okay. When I went on stage and I didn't place, but that didn't bother me. The minute I got off stage, there was like a fire that was lit in me. I knew it in my soul, like that I found my passion. Like fitness and bodybuilding is my passion. Whether or not I decide to continue to compete, I'm so happy that I found it. I'm so happy that I got to experience it, because at the end of the day, I proved to myself that I was able to do something that not a lot of people can do. I found that I had so much more discipline, and that kind of carried over into everything else in my life. So I was like really happy. I only did one show because I knew that if I didn't bring my best, and if I didn't get to the place that I needed to be to like win, because at the end of the day, that's what you want to do, is you want to win. I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it, so I immediately went into my improvement season. I took a long time off because I realized during my prep that I wasn't giving prep my all because I was doing all these other things. The next time I wanted to be in prep, I wanted to be able to give it my all. I wanted to be in a place mentally that I could focus on this. To be quite honest, between this year and last year, I have a lot more on my plate, but I think just individually as a person, like I've just grown so much more since 3 years ago that I'm definitely in the right mindset. Also in prep, I was dating, so like that didn't help. So I've been in prep for 11 weeks now, and for the first few weeks I was pretty much cruising along, and then I plateaued a bit, and this is normal. Anytime you're in a fat loss phase, you do plateau. My coach, Kyle, through the process we made a few adjustments to my macros and to my training, both weight training as well as cardio. I plateaued a bit, and we kind of like we're trying to figure it out, and finally I started to drop weight again. And you know, sometimes it does take your body like a week or two to really adjust to like changes in your diet or changes in your training. I wasn't like too worried, or I wasn't trying to stress about it too much, but obviously I was stressed because part of being in competition prep is, you know, you're weighing yourself every day, you're looking at yourself in the mirror, and you're really trying to make sure that you're getting leaner. So it can be very hard mentally. I'm not gonna lie. During my first prep, I cried a few times. I would like to see a competitor who has never cried during prep, but we'll see. I'm down like 6 to 7 pounds, which is great. Still have more weight to drop, but again, I have 16 weeks, so I've already like spoken to my coach about this, but we have a lot of time on our hands to make adjustments if needed, and then give my body a diet break if need be. So one of the big questions I get asked often when I tell them that I'm a competitor is, oh my god, do you get a spray tan? Yes, we get tans. You know, on show day, it is the most glamorous thing because you have a sparkly suit, you have sparkly jewelry, you have beautiful makeup, your hair is done. It's great, but what people don't see is the journey to get there. You have so much training, you have a strict nutrition plan to follow, you have to do like cardio, you really have to bring good conditioning, and so it does take a lot. There's a lot of sacrifices, like not eating out with people. I think the first prep I did, I restricted myself a lot from social events because a lot of them were around food, alcohol, and I was not disciplined enough to like just stare at people eating. Now I've gotten to a better point where like I can take my own food and not feel tempted to pick up people's plates or what have you. And honestly, I think this pandemic has helped because I love fresh cooked meals. If I have to really meal prep and like plan out meals like 3 to 4 days because I don't want to be cooking all the time, especially when you're low energy, like I'll do it. But it's been nice to like be able to cook warm meals. I do count my macros. I definitely plan ahead on like what my meals will be. I will cook like big batches of like protein or like sides, vegetables, and then kind of just like change out what I eat so that it's not the exact same thing. I'll probably do like a day in my life or a week in my life to like give more updates so like you can really see everything that I'm doing for prep. It is not this glamorous. I did get extensions because, okay, so I got a haircut, not by my usual lady, and I was quite disappointed. Lesson learned. Let's just say I'm not happy. So I decided to get extensions to try them out to see how I like them so that I can wear them on show day. I've always been intrigued about extensions. I didn't know a thing about extensions until I started to research. I'm really surprised that the color is so perfectly matched with mine. I think they're a little bit longer than I wanted, but I think, you know, it's definitely fine. I'm gonna try to get more comfortable with them. And, you know, maybe I'll decide to wear them for show day. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But I do like that this is literally the first time that I've styled my hair with them. So I'm pretty pleased with the match. I just need to get more comfortable with wearing them in general. They are kind of a little heavy. Something I definitely want to point out about judging for the bikini division in particular is that it is very subjective. Generally, whoever the Miss Bikini Olympia is, that is kind of like the model for what the bikini division is. And not a lot has changed. A lot of people have said that it has changed. I don't necessarily think so. There's a fine line between bikini competitors and figure competitors. Bikini's looking for like an hourglass shape, really having fullness in your delts, and obviously what gives the illusion of a smaller waist is having a bigger back. You don't want your back too big, but it'll help for people who don't genetically have a small waist. And personally for me, I don't. I'm a petite person, but I don't necessarily have a small waist. So that's something that I've definitely been focusing on during my training. And then you want round glutes. You want a nice like glute hamstring tie-in, but you don't want separation of your muscles. You don't want striations because then that tends to go into figure. There's a lot of different things that can vary because at the end of the day, it's who shows up at your competition. You can't predict who's going to show up. All you can do is really bring your best to kind of meet the standards of what the division is looking for. And the person who has the biggest muscles doesn't necessarily mean like that's the winner. So it is a point system, so you can lose points for that. The thing about like show day is it's about the entire package. It's about your hair, your makeup, your suit, your tan, your posing. It is everything that you can think of like you're gonna be judged on. Posing is so important. I've personally been practicing a lot more and I'm pretty proud of how far I've come. I cannot tell you how many times I've reviewed my first video clips that I shared with my coaches of when I was trying to pose, and it like makes me cringe, but like we all start somewhere. We're not perfect. We're not gonna get it right the first time or the second or the third. There's just so much that goes into it that a lot of people don't see. I think this is where we're gonna end. I just kind of really wanted to give like a rough outline of what bodybuilding is, what the bikini division is, how I got started, where I'm at now, and hope you will continue to follow my journey. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and definitely subscribe. I look forward to bringing you along with me on my journey.